What's going on, everybody? It's Jamie,
And John,
and welcome to the A-To-Zed Reseller podcast. How's it going this week, John?
pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's been nice to get home. I just got home last night. I was dog sitting in the neighboring town for a couple of weeks, which is always fun. I mean, I like dogs and hanging out and stuff. But I slept in my own bed last night for the first time in a couple of weeks, and I want to tell you, it was one of the best nights sleep I've had in months. It was so good.
Yeah, there's nothing like it's always fun. Like I know you weren't on vacation, you were doing the dog sitting thing, but it's always nice when you come home from a weekend away or a week away and you get into your own bed. There's nothing quite like that.
Yeah, I woke up this morning like, you ever see the movie Office Space?
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. I think like the first day that Buddy wakes up after he's been hypnotized, he wakes up. He's just got that happy look on his face. He's just like, "No, I'm going back to bed." Like that's how I felt this morning. It could have been a complete just Peter from Office Space kind of moment, but I mean, I did have to work today, so I did get up, but I felt like he looked.
yeah. Oh yeah, I think we've all been there. um, yeah. How was your week this week on online, like selling online? So like eBay, Poshmark, were the sales good? I know last week we were it was a role reversal. I think the week before I'd said how bad it was, and then you said everything was good, and then I feel like last week you said it was kind of a bit of a down week and things were picking up for me.
It was really strange the way that it went. So everything started like my sales week start on Sunday and end on Saturday. So it started off with a sale on a Sunday of that Wii bundle and made, good amount of money on that, like really strong open of the week. I'm like, all right, cool. And then, but by the time like my payout came on Tuesday, I had gotten a good payout, but then a bunch of labels came out and then eBay just died for the week, like just completely died. And like, there were two times during the week where they were like, "Hey, you owe us money. We're gonna try to take money from your account in a couple of days or something," just because labels would come out and I wasn't making enough sales. And it's like, this is crazy. Like, this hasn't happened for like a year and a half or something for me. But it did turn around. I had one really good sale that I'm sure we'll talk about here. That was several $100s, and that kind of just brought it back around. And Poshmark was good. Poshmark was steady. I had two no sales days last week, which is really, really odd. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird if I have one, but to have two, and that's on both platforms, that was strange. But the overall numbers were still pretty good.
Yeah. I think I spread my inventory out over so many platforms. It's rare to have a no sales day for me, but I definitely have days where it's only two or three things.
Yeah.
And then I remember talking to somebody recently when I was dropping something off at Stallion Express, and we just started talking about recent sales and stuff like that. Um, Interested to see what you think of this. So for me, I feel like Monday to Thursday, I get a lot of my sales come in there, and I'm not a weekend. I don't whatever for whatever reason, I'm not a weekend sales guy, unless it's on Poshmark and I'm running like trying to run an auction or trying to participate in like a closet clear out or something. That will definitely spike sales for Poshmark. But for everything else, I don't make a lot of weekend sales. All my sales seem to come through the week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think probably if I look back through it, I think probably Sunday is actually my best sales day,
Okay.
and then probably Monday. So I don't know if people are like, "Oh crap, weekend's over. I got to go back to work. I need to spend some money to make myself feel better about my life." But
Yeah.
it seems like Sunday evenings and Mondays are definitely my best days. Although every now and then, like, I'm out on the East Coast, so of course, it's later in the day here, but every now and then I can tell Friday like 8 o'clock. Okay, the most of the country's off work right now for the weekend, and the sales just start like just bang, 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 bang. But that doesn't happen all the time. But it seems like, I don't know. It seems like there's a weird momentum. And I think we've talked about this before. So it could just be the algorithm. Like one sale kind of boosts you, a second sale really boosts you, a third sale, it's like, oh man, he's on fire.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden everybody's just seeing your listings. And so every now and then you get that nice little chain reaction. But yeah, weekends aren't my best, I'd say.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, the only place I've ever thought that weekends were maybe a little better was like local, like Facebook marketplaces when
Oh yeah.
people have the availability to come and like actually meet up with you. If they're even going to show up, right? Is this
Yeah.
available?
Yeah.
um,
No, I gotta touch on that. I got three people right now that I've got an ongoing conversation with in Messenger about, like, so you still want this? Like, when did you say you were coming? Or, hey, you didn't get back to me yesterday. Like, what's going on? And oh yeah, I know I had a job interview, and so I'm just seeing how that goes. It's like, wait, what? You had a job interview? So are you waiting to see if you have a job so that you have money so that you can buy this thing? Or are you just waiting for like timing purposes, like how that all plays out? Because we live like 5 minutes from one another.
yeah.
People are crazy. Anyway, that's enough of that.
No, I agree with you. That is sort of the whole marketplace thing. It's annoying, but then at the end of the day, when you get cash in hand, you're like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah, yeah, cash is king.
Yeah. I love buying stuff on marketplace. It's just recently it's just another place for resellers like me and you to
Mhm.
sell their stuff so that the deals that were once there just aren't there anymore. But I still like looking. Every once in a while you do find something good. Every once in a while people who know what I do, I guess, will send me stuff, like send me a link, say, hey, I seen this, thought of you, which is cool. I always appreciate that too. But
Yeah.
yeah, marketplace is definitely getting a little more expensive, but I mean that's a good thing for us too, right? We can sell our stuff there. Don't feel so bad if you jack the price up a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's still deals to be had. Something I've done recently a few times actually, and it's worked out in my favor a couple of times, is like I'm not someone who's going to complain about pricing, but if I see somebody, especially if it looks like maybe they're an older person, in their profile picture or something, like for example, there was someone recently had like a regular NES Nintendo and like Mario 2, and they had it listed for like $300. It's like, I mean, that's just not going to happen. They obviously don't know what it's actually worth. I just messaged them, was like, hey, this isn't me like price bashing or anything. I have a Nintendo. I have this game. I don't even want this for myself. I'm just letting you know in case you weren't aware. This is kind of generally what these things actually go for.
Yeah.
If you're looking to sell this, you'll probably do better if you price it right around this range. That's what I would put it up for. And sometimes people respond positively to stuff like that. Other times, they just see it and maybe don't do anything, and that's fine. Like, I'm not looking for anything out of it. Um, but actually, there was one time, probably about 3 months ago, that the person was like, "Oh, okay, thanks. Like, I actually had no idea. I've got all this video game stuff that was my son's, and I don't know what any of it's worth. And like, are you interested in any of it?" And anyway, I ended up making a really good bulk deal and bought. I mean, I gave them a fair price, and I did explain to them, like, if I'm going to buy these things from you, I can tell you what they're worth. But if I'm going to buy them from you, I have to give you like half of that, because I wouldn't want all of this for myself. I'm going to flip some of this. You
Yeah.
make some money, I make some money, and whatever, right? But yeah, I ended up getting like a really nice deal out of it. I think I spent 400 and got about 850 worth of value. But then she threw in some other stuff that was like probably another, 150 to $200 worth of value. So it wasn't like the hugest margins or anything, but it was a good connection and a good outcome, because I mean, it could have just been like, hey, don't tell me what to do. And
Yeah.
you know
Well, that's good. And that's being generous because half of retail price.
yeah.
So like half sounds like a good deal. Oh, okay, we're splitting it. Well, guess what? Like
Yeah.
you know this, I know. You still
Yeah.
have to pay fees. You're gonna have to pay for the packaging. You're gonna have to take your time to do it all. If
I'm gonna
somebody
have to
else,
clean it,
yeah,
test it, make sure everything works, do
somebody
all
else.
the research.
Hmm.
By the end of it, I might be making 25% of the value. She's making her 50% of the value. And then fees and all the other crap is the other 25%. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know often get asked from people if I want to take their stuff and do like a 50-50 split. And it's so hard because a lot of times I think people don't know how hard it is to sell something online, and then 50-50 split's not so great either because that's part of, that's part of my income. And I'm obviously going to give you the cash, kind of, let's call it under the table. I don't care what you do with it, but you're getting cash that's for you to figure out. But
Yeah.
that's still, there's not a real easy way to write that off as not income for yourself, right?
Exactly.
There's probably some workaround if that's your business model and that's all you do. But if it's just the
Yeah.
occasional thing, it's sometimes it's more of a pain than anything.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would, like, I mean, I'm sure they're like established consignment shops must have some way when come tax time that's
Yeah.
built into the business model, and there must be some way to claim all of
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I'm not an accountant,
So
but
I
yeah,
know
like you say, if you're selling something for a friend online, like how do you just take that into consideration?
I don't know if this is the right thing to do, and I probably shouldn't even say this because if it's not the right thing,
Do
if
it. Do it.
I'll just say it. I don't really care. So if I've done that and it's a significant amount of money where I'm like, I don't know, I just don't really want to take a hit. I will just write off the amount that I'm giving them into the cost of goods, so I can write that off as part of the item, and that makes sense to me. But I don't know to an accountant if that's right, because I guess you could say say it's $100. I bought this from you for $50 and I sold it. Here's your $50 for me buying it. So it's just me paying up for the item. That's
Yeah.
the way I like to look at it. Whether that like really is the right math you should be using in a situation like that, I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone would ever question it, but that's how I kind of do it, just so that you can write off part of that money. But it doesn't really matter. You still got to pay taxes and everything on the money that
Right.
you sold it for.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. But you know what? That does make sense. I mean, if that is your cost for selling that item,
Yeah,
then that is a cost of goods. So, like, again, that might not be the way an accountant tells you to do it, but to me, it makes perfect sense. And I would
yeah,
probably do the same thing, whether I should or not.
yeah. I don't. Can you hear this cat right now?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Kitty,
Oh yeah.
kitty
So
going nuts.
Blue. It's this. So this is my parents, my mom and dad's cat. I don't know. Did you see the video where the cat broke the vase? Did you catch
I
that?
didn't know. I didn't see
Oh
that
no,
one.
I think it was my last what sold or something. But yeah,
Okay.
he'll probably
Some,
give up here in a second. I think he's pretty cool.
sometimes here's what happens. I intend to watch a lot of videos, and I do intend to support other content
Well,
creators, like especially yourself and
yeah,
others and stuff. But a lot of times I'm finding that my main time available for watching videos is right before bed. I'll put some videos on,
yeah,
but I have this thing where, man, sometimes I'll put a video on and I'm asleep before the intro. Like I come to like 2 hours later, my wireless headphones still in my ear. I'm like, oh Jesus, I got to put all this away. Like, I don't remember any of that. I remember, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jamie here. We're gonna talk about boom out.
yeah, for sure. I'm the same way. A lot of times I'll throw videos on in the background while I'm working, and I hear it, but I don't physically necessarily see everything.
Right.
A lot of times I'm like, oh wait, what did you say? And I'll click it, go back and look.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, especially for me because I'll spend a good amount of the like. There's 2 days when I'm just home all day where I try not to leave the house. Like I purposely try to stay home because I'm out of sight of the house a lot, right? Running around actually. And it's just nice to be at home. So I'll just throw videos up. There's people I watch, you included. You just throw things in queue and it just goes on. It's like background noise, right? It's like having coworkers without having anybody here.
Yeah.
Besides, Blue is giving up at the moment. Besides cats like crying treats.
Yeah. My kitty is 19 now, and she occasionally has her little senile moments where she'll do that. Working from home, it's funny because like occasionally she'll do it. I don't have a lot of online meetings and conference calls and stuff, but like it does happen where I'm on a call with a client or something, and then all of a sudden she just starts doing her thing, and I'm just like, guys, I'm just gonna say here, like, I apologize. I know this isn't a very professional thing, but I am working from home. I have an elderly cat who, bless her, is starting to lose her mind. She's probably going to tell you about it here. I can hear her coming. And I apologize in advance. So if anybody else wants to do their section of the report here and just kind of skip past me and will come back to me so I can mute myself, Most people are pretty good about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in kind of like a corporate position, and it's just, I think it actually adds a little bit of a human element, like lighthearted nature to the day, which can otherwise be like, kind of, um, intense and sometimes anxiety inducing sessions. So, a cat freaking out, meowing in the background for treats or just losing their mind kind of loosens everyone up.
Yeah. I'd have a hard time not joking around about it, being like, oh, we've had an outbreak of cats recently in the community. Our office is like riddled. Every time someone goes in and out, we get another cat. We don't know what to do. I just make this big long story. Really? No, not really. I'm working from home. I kind of like that's my sense of humor for sure. Yeah. So what about you been messing around on Poshmark? I know I asked you last time about the closet clear out function on Sidekick. Have you tried it yet, or not really played with it yet?
I haven't tried it yet because I was gonna do it on Sunday and then I forgot to set that up on Saturday.
Oh yeah,
But this week I've actually set an alarm in my phone on Thursday evening to go in and turn off the offers to likers, so it's not doubling up and doing that. Turning off the offers to likers, turning on the closet clear out option, and just making sure I go in there and do what I have to do to get that going properly. I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. I think it's a really cool feature.
yeah,
I feel like an idiot for not having done it yet because it's been out for almost a month now.
yeah. No,
But
I'm just looking to talk to somebody else who's tried it to
yeah,
see how it's worked out for them. Like I think it's pretty decent. But I never really participated too much in closet clear out a ton. Once in a while I would. I just never liked the idea of constantly dropping the price. I'm gonna have to grab this cat. He's gonna
yeah. All right, no worries.
clearance here. All right.
There we go.
Gonna have the Dr. Evil. I have to shave this cat. Isn't his cat shaved something or other?
Yeah, some hairless Sphinx cat or something. Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
could be like Dr. Claw, but now we see your face.
Yeah.
Inspector Gadget. Just put
Yeah.
on one of those metallic-looking gloves and only show your hand rubbing the cat.
That'd be perfect. That'd actually be like a really good someone to do like a spoof type YouTube video or
Yeah.
like YouTube series. Um, almost like I'd seen somebody do it where they watch other people's videos and they just like roast them.
Okay.
That'd be hilarious, right? You'd have like a little, you don't show your face and it's like a little voice changer or something. You're just sitting there petting a cat, like roasting people's like thrift haul videos or something. It'd be hilarious.
I got a buddy who so like I have another channel I haven't been active on forever, but it was like for running content and stuff like that. And one of my buddies over there, Chris, another runner, we would do like Vlogtober and things like that a lot. Just put up a lot of running videos and we'd always comment on each other's stuff and kind of roast each other. I was always the guy that was known for like I never had a shirt on in my videos because if I'm out running, I overheat so easily, right? So I'm always shirtless in my videos. And same deal, I'd always fall asleep like watching other people's videos, and I would talk about that, like how I'd fall asleep. So Chris gets on his video one day, and he's just like, he's not wearing a shirt, and he's like, "Hey everybody, my name's John. I'm here. I'm a runner on YouTube, and I fall asleep watching people's videos, and I talk like this because he's got a little bit of a higher voice. Mine's deeper, of course. Just completely ripped into me, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, that is funny. That, like I said, I don't know. I just we've talked about it before. I feel like my sense of humor a lot of times is like very adolescent for sure.
Oh yeah.
So like stuff like that or like jokes and pranks, stuff like that, I just think is just fun. Yeah, what's I know you kind of said earlier about potentially a good sale. What was your sale of the week? You said maybe a couple hundred, several hundred, something really good.
A few. So obviously I've been selling off some of my own personal video game collection and whatnot. And I do sell other stuff that I pick up just for reselling. But last year I picked up a modded Wii that has like the I forget what the emulator's called, but it's the GameCube emulator on it.
Oh yeah.
So like, I can just I can just download a GameCube game, put it on a hard drive, play any GameCube game I want on that Nintendo Wii that's modded. So for me, having a physical GameCube collection, while it looks cool on the shelf, is like, man, this is all worth a lot of money. I should probably sell this off and get
Yeah.
some money. And, because I mean, I'm actively trying to pay down some debt and stuff. So I had listed on both Facebook Marketplace and on eBay not my entire, I'm keeping some games that I want, like a couple of Zeldas and some Star Fox and stuff, but I listed most of my GameCube collection just as one big lot. And I think it started off as something like 75 games. And then as like individual games would sell in Facebook Marketplace, I would edit the listing on eBay and pare it down and stuff like that. But it did just sell. It was 51 games, I think is what it ended up being. And I think like price charting value had it somewhere around like $820 in value or something like that. But I know there's a lot of cheaper titles in there, like sports titles and stuff like that. And like a lot of times with price charting, yeah, that's pulling like recent eBay sales, it's pulling all that kind of stuff. But like some of that might be free shipping, right? So is Madden 2004 actually worth $10 or is it worth $6? Right? It's probably $6 because it's free shipping on all of those listings. So I had it listed for I think price charting value was like $820. And I had it listed for like $650, then down to like $6. And I was sending out offers in the $5s. And someone offered me $460. And it's like, you know what? That's over half. It's, realistically, I've got a lot of cheap games that if I wanted to wait forever and sell them on Facebook, and maybe I'd end up getting more money in the end, but I could be doing this for the next year or more, right? So I took the $460.
Yeah.
The way the shipping calculated, they ended up paying something like $65 for shipping, but I knew I'd be able to send it a little bit cheaper with UPS as well. So I knew I was going to earn about $20 with UPS. That was another reason why I ended up taking the offer I did, because I wanted to be close to $5, but it worked out to like $480 something basically with that shipping discount I knew I'd get. So yeah, I mean, there's a buy cost there. There was a buy cost there. At some point I paid to have those games, but I mean, they've just been in my collection for years and years. So I mean, at this point, that money's gone. I've gotten my value out of them, so it's all profits really.
Yeah, it's nice, especially when you're bundling up like that much at once, because it takes like it takes forever to sell off. Some of those games, yeah, probably would sell pretty quick, but the ones that wouldn't sell, you're just gonna wait, right? And so
Yeah.
it can be a long waiting game for some of that stuff.
Yeah. Your 20-year-old sports games that are worth $10 max are going to take forever to sell.
Yeah.
So I had probably 20 to 25 of those in that bundle. It's like, okay, here's a chance to move all of those, even if I end up literally getting basically nothing for those, but now I've gotten value for the rest of them. And that moves the rest of the lot. To me, that's worth it.
It is for sure. That's the type of this cat is climbing around everything. I don't want it to. What are you doing, Blue? That's the kind of lot you see on Facebook Marketplace too, right? Where somebody's thrown a whole bunch of sports games in there. There might be one or two titles that are mediocre, but that's where you see a lot of like a big lot of sports games that are hard to move.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I always take the approach that it's like, what is my realistic opportunity to sell these items, and how much money could I potentially get, but how long would that take?
Yeah.
Do I want to be sitting on this box of GameCube games for the next year and a half and eventually sell them all and maybe get close to that actual value of $800? Or am I going to take $480 today and put another $400 payment on a credit card and get that paid down quicker? And then by the time those games sell, have saved enough money in interest on that credit card that have worked out to the same anyway,
Yeah. Did you go kind of check the buyer out a bit, like make sure they were like legitimate and like
they had over 1,000 feedback and everything looked good. So I think they had over 1,000 feedback. It was in the 99% something. So I'm not worried about it.
What would you do? What would you do if it was like brand new buyer, but like just started the account within a few days? Would you cancel or would you just take your chances? Because Canceling can cost you at least feedback. You'll keep your item, but somebody could say, "Hey, this person never sent this," and give you negative, right?
If it was a new buyer, new account with really just no feedback to back them up on something of that size, I would have a conversation with them first in messaging, and I would ask them a few questions. I would say,
Yeah,
okay, I want you to please confirm that you've looked at all the photos. Please
yeah,
confirm that you understand that the condition varies, and I can't show every condition of every game in here.
yeah,
Some of them have manuals, some don't. Just confirm that you understand what it is that I'm selling and what it is that you're buying. But then I would also um, make sure that I put uh, a signature required upon delivery so that no one could ever even make that claim. Because even though tracking shows delivered, it
yeah,
still can be a huge pain in the butt if someone says, oh, it didn't get there. I know eBay will side with you and blah, 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 but it can still be a huge pain. Um, yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't sell to a new account, but I would basically ask them enough questions or have a big enough conversation with them through messaging first before I send it out that there's no way they could ever try to like screw me over because it's all right there. Like
yeah.
at the end of it would just be like, okay, so you accept that this is as it is and we're good, right?
Yep. I think that's probably the right thing to do. And yeah, I'm sure when I asked the question, I was pretty sure you kind of probably took a look at the very least, right? Because that's a decent chunk of money. It's not like it's a $20 game. It's, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I would really hate to have to refund that one later.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So what did I sell? Hitachi television. I can't remember the model number, but it actually just sold this morning. It kicked off my day, and I'm like, oh, what is it? Was 100. All of a sudden, I seen a notification for $170, and I'm like,
I,
what was that? And I kind of looked, and I didn't recognize it right away, so I clicked through. So the TV sold for I think 130, and then the other 40 would have been shipping, right? And then I'm sure there's taxes and whatever. That was actually one that I had took originally to the antique booth, and it sat there for about a month. And I think I was asking about $60 there, probably about half of what I thought I could get online, just to avoid having to ship it or whatever.
yeah.
And I think when I brought like a little like laundry type cart to throw like a whole bunch of hats in, and it just sort of worked out where I didn't have a spot for the TV there anymore. And I'm like, oh well, whatever. I'll just take it home and throw it on eBay. So that's been hasn't been listed that long, about a week, maybe a little longer than a week. So that's the hard thing for me still to figure out, I guess, with the antique booth is like what should be there and what shouldn't be there.
Mm,
Um, I guess the other thing is patience, right? Like I know in the antique booth too, this is like apparently from April through summer is pretty slow. This would be not the ideal time to start. So I'm starting in the worst time I probably
right.
possibly could have. But it's hard when I'm looking at items in the booth that I'm like, man, I know I could sell that online. I kind of have it here somewhat to fill the shelves and somewhat to test the waters to see if it will sell there because I don't know those things yet, right?
Mm,
But yeah, so it's just an example of another thing that I've recently brought home from the antique booth that sold pretty quickly. So happy about that for sure. I won't be
yeah.
super happy about it later today when I'm, trying to ship it because it's not a lot of fun to make it all fit and make sure
How
it's
big of a how big of a TV is it?
it's like a 13-inch CRT, so it's a
Okay.
little it's not that big, but it'll fit in like I'm guessing like an 18 by 22 by I'll probably cut it down to like, just so there's enough to like put some padding on each side of the top.
Mm, yeah.
Sometimes I double box TVs like that. It depends because they're not all the same shape, right? They're
Yeah.
all, so
Sometimes they got a big bump on the back as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll figure that all out when I ship it. A lot of
Mm,
times I'll use cut down pool noodles. Sometimes I haven't looked to see where it's going. I guess it depends too. If it's going somewhere further away, I'm always going to pack it very safely. But if I think it's like going to be in Ontario and not be handled a whole bunch, like not as much
mm,
as it would to go to the US, I might not go to the extremes of stuffing styrofoam and everywhere. And
yeah.
so yeah, not a lot of fun to ship TVs, but they do sell and they sell
Yeah.
for decent money. And I probably paid $10 for that. So I mean, it's a pretty good return on investment that way.
Yeah, that's a nice flip. You know what I was thinking as you were talking about that and with like pool noodles and stuff, it reminded me of a couple of boxes that I've used recently, including the one I used today to pack up that GameCube a lot. Um, we occasionally order like HelloFresh and good
Yeah.
food and stuff like that. And the HelloFresh boxes actually come with a really nice padding inside now. It's like this really nice foam. Like we took our food out and put the GameCube games in. Like it was perfect. Now I don't know if that size would have been good enough for that TV, but I mean it was a pretty big box. Um, so yeah, there's a little hint for anybody out there who's a reseller who you know, if you do like the HelloFresh stuff or whatever, like I never would have thought about it. I don't know. Like we would have gotten that, and before we would have just broken those boxes down or threw them out. And now it's like, man, this is the greatest thing ever to ship stuff in. Like, you know, game console locks or game locks and stuff. Like, oh, it's perfect.
Yeah. I just started going back through and reusing more boxes again. My wife has been saving boxes from the salon for me for a while. And I went there the other day and I'm like, oh, look at all this. She's like, yeah, like you need to come get this. There's like too many now. So I've got all kinds, and I seen there was even more. They've been saving. I've got like two great big trash bags full of packing paper that's been just crumpled up and thrown in boxes. So I've got like two garbage bags full of reused packing paper. They did save for me some of the those little air plastic things that they fill full of air.
Yeah.
I don't like those. So I think I just wound up popping most of them and tossing them out. But everything else that they have there that they get stuff in is great. So I mean, I haven't paid for boxes in a little while. I've been waiting for I want to buy boxes again through Stallion Express, but they've been out of stock forever. I talked to one of the guys there, and I think they switched their supply company.
Okay.
And it's been some sort of issue with getting those, because I mean those are like the boxes I could use for shoes and stuff like that. I think you get like I think it's like 50 or something. It's something like that for like $2. That's all. But I think they're free in the States, right? Like all that stuff that they get all those USPS boxes for free. They just charge you for handling to get them here, right? So that's it. So it's great to buy boxes from them.
I was gonna say, like, you know, are you sure it's cheaper than Staples? But yeah, that's much cheaper. I mean, and I think Staples is a good price, especially with the free shipping after $50 or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, anytime you get 50 boxes for $2, that's a no-brainer.
And with boxes, I'm so on the fence. So I used boxes for a long time, and then I felt like that I wanted the quality of my items when they showed up. I wanted it to look more professional. So that's why I did start, getting new boxes and the USPS stuff and whatever. And now that I'm reusing some of the boxes again from Tranquility, I'm like, oh yeah, some of them, I'm like, yeah, some of these kind of look crappy. In that case, sometimes I'll slide it. I find myself doing this, sliding it up into a poly mailer and then taping it shut. And I'm like, well, how much money am I really saving if I'm still going to use the poly mailer that I'm paying for on the free box? It's probably still cheaper than buying the box. But you know what I mean? Like, so I think there is something to be said about presenting an item when it's delivered that looks more professional than just shoved in a box and looks sloppy. Not that you can't do that in a used box and still make it look presentable and nice, but it is one of the factors that I always do think about, because I do like the idea of when somebody opens it up, they think like that they're really glad that they bought this from me, not like, oh, like this looks like it was thrown in like a cracker box or something.
Yeah,
right?
this cheapskate just ate his Triscuits and put his thing in here. Yeah. No, I get you, and I mean that definitely makes sense. That is part of the buying experience, is part of the customer experience, and as we know, eBay cares a lot about that. I mean, I like to reuse things where I can, but sometimes I'll be looking at so my post office saves me boxes because like I live in this just tiny little small area and they all know me. I'm like their biggest customer probably. So they save boxes for me that they get from their promotional items, their planogram stuff that they put up around or whatever, or their supplies. But then there's also a company, there's like a factory that's just across the street from me, basically down on the other side. And they bring in all of their like packages, their like mail, like letters and invoices and stuff like that, just in these like long kind of like shoebox, but a little bit longer. And those things are perfect for things like boots or even like Guitar Hero guitars or things like that. Sometimes you have to Frankenbox it a little bit. So I'll use those things when I can, but every now and then they give me one, and I mean I just take it all anyway. But every now and then I'll get a box and it's all like beat to crap, and it looks like somebody was hitting baseballs against the side of it, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to use that one. That one goes out in recycling. So there's a line for sure.
Yeah, I know. The other is, and like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong thing to do there. It's just however you feel about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely like the customer to have a good experience. Not necessarily that I think they'll buy something from you again, but just that it just sort of like maybe they feel more at peace at the fact that, like, I don't know. I think people, even when they buy on eBay, sometimes they feel like they're getting scammed or ripped off somehow, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you though. I think a lot of people just have this perception of eBay. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of just kind of crappy sellers out there. There's a lot of crappy buyers out there. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's face it, we're human. There's a lot of crappy humans out there. So I mean, I get it, and I'm always hesitant. Even as a reseller, I'm always hesitant to make a larger purchase on eBay, because it's like I never know what I'm going to get. Am I going to get something that has been cared for and shows that it's coming from somebody responsible and respectful like yourself or me, or am I going to get an N64 sent loose in a box in shredded paper?
Yeah.
Which happened to me before, and it's like, are you serious? You sent this in a box of shredded paper, and not only was it just bouncing around in shredded paper, now I need to open it up and pull the paper out of the console. Like, are you an idiot? And these things do happen. So, I mean, I understand people's apprehension. So when they get something that looks nice, seems like it's really well packaged, it does go a long way.
It does. Speaking of bad buyers, I got a little bit of a bad buyer story here on such a cheap item. This is the type of thing that if we weren't a little bit seasoned, it might make you just want to quit reselling. And it's not a lot of money or anything like that. So have been running a sale, a 30% off sale, 15% off sale. So I had this manga book, which is like Japanese comic book type thing, right? And it was on sale for $9 or something like that, plus shipping. Okay, I probably even at that point was going to be like maybe getting my money back. This person aggressively tried to offer me $3-4. I actually talked about it in a video. And then I think at the end of the video, I might have even said something like, this feels like it could be a problem. I hope I didn't make a mistake, because their last offer for $3 or something. And I said, hey, like that, no, like this isn't going to buy it. Like it's already on sale. Just kind of like, and I left it at that. And then a day later, they sent me a $5 offer. And I think I didn't respond, and they sent me a message that said, hey, I really wish you would reply. I do want to buy this. I hope we can make a deal. I think I sent an $8 offer thinking like, okay, you can have $1 off. Like, this is getting ridiculous. Of course, they accepted it. They bought it. I shipped it out really quickly. I think I probably broke even or lost money on it for sure. And they get it. This is item and not described. This isn't anything like what you said it was. And they showed me all the pictures that I disclosed, but they found like this one little mark that they're right. It was, I didn't describe or didn't say this, but I didn't even realize it. On one of the pages, it had like a little stamp from a library, but like it was tiny. Like I missed it for sure. They're like,
So
oh,
what are you supposed to do when you sell a book? Go through every page and make sure there's not a mark on any page?
because I had showed the repair to the front and the back, and somebody had took whiteout and they put whiteout over somebody's name, which now I think it was probably the library name they whited out. And I showed all that. So it wasn't like I was just trying to show the flaws that I could see, and I listed it. So at first I'm like, I have free returns. So I just said, you know what? I have free returns. This isn't a big deal. Just open a return and I'll take it back and then I'll refund you. So I was going to take it back and I was not going to refund them the shipping. I was just going to lose. I figured I'd lose a few bucks and I would just donate the book at that point if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But then when I went to go ship it, for some reason, I think because I used the courier, I couldn't use the same courier to get it back to myself because they don't have a drop off. And the shipping was going to be like $12. So now I'm like, okay, so I have to pay $12 now to get this back. Uh, so I bit the bullet and I just said, hey, listen, I just looked it up real quick. You know what? For what this is going to be worth, I'm just going to refund and you can keep it. Said if you're that disgusted with this book, you might as well just take it right to your local thrift store. And I didn't hear back from them. But I'm sure that's what they were doing. They're probably fishing the whole time. You know,
Yeah.
especially yeah, like because I don't know, it just bothers you because I didn't want to sell it to the person bent over backwards. I make that $8 offer thinking, well, you don't want to pay $9. Will you pay $8? You know, and I feel like at that point they had me, they're just reeling me in at that point.
Oh yeah,
I,
they kept dropping the red flags at you, and you kept picking them up.
Yeah, and I knew better because I know when in the video when I shipped it out, I think I mentioned something about like, oh, I just feel a little bit uneasy for some reason about this. Hopefully this wasn't a mistake. And yeah, those are the ones.
Yeah.
You can tell like when people start asking a lot of questions that don't make sense or they're trying to be really weird about it. Like I should have just let it be, but I was just like, oh, I'll just get this thing out of here one way or the other, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The other odd thing that happened that I wanted to talk to you about, which I thought this is kind of funny and it went probably the best way it possibly could. So my last garage sale video, in the thumbnail, I'm holding up a GI Joe jet, like from the '80s, from like 1988 or something. Okay, I don't. You maybe didn't see the video, but essentially, I went there and the lady's like, I looked around. There's some cool stuff, but that was the only thing that caught my eye. And I just basically said, "Hey, what are you asking on this?" And she's like, I want $40 for it." I'm like, okay. I said, well, just give me a minute. I'll tell you if I give you $40 or not. So I looked it up on eBay. I really couldn't tell. I didn't think it was 100% complete. The sold comps were anywhere from 30 to 90, but the ones for 90s had like the manual and more stuff than just the jet. So I kind of showed her this and just said like, this is kind of what it's like. I would offer you like $10. I'm sure you don't want to take that. And she said, no. So that was cool. And then I think I said in the video, like, oh, maybe I should have gave her my phone number and she could have called me if she didn't sell it. Well, she had watched the video on Facebook because she is local. And I did my best job not to have her like her face or anything in it. Just it was just our conversation. And we were both, nobody got heated. It was just a regular conversation. I wasn't upset that she looked it up on eBay. She wasn't upset that I didn't want to spend the money. But yeah, she's like, hey, puts a message on the Facebook video that just says, hey, I'm the jet lady. If you still want to buy it for parts, kind of hit me up type thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I messaged her on Facebook and we talked a bit. And apparently she knows my wife because my wife cuts her hair at our salon. Like they just know each other a little bit, right? And then I said, I would be interested in the jet, and maybe if you have some more stuff, we could bundle together and make a deal. It's just really tough when you're trying to sell stuff to flip it. I can't pay up for it, and you can ask whatever you want for it. It's your item, but it's really tough. It'd be really tough to get $40. She obviously didn't sell it, right? I assumed maybe at some point somebody might have offered $20 and they took it because they liked it or knew more. I don't know much about vintage toys at all. I know enough to look them up when I see them, but I don't collect them or know a lot about them.
Yeah, no, I don't know anything about them. I know to look them up, but
yeah,
no, that's cool. That's a good turnout. It's funny because like I'm in a really small rural area, and even though I've only lived here for about 3 years, there's definitely people that recognize me now, and it's happened. Like there's a guy who works at the local hardware store that He's bought some N64 games from me through Marketplace a couple of times. I was in there to get a key cut the other day. He's like, "Hey, N64 guy."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So just little stuff like that, which is cool. But it's always nice when stuff like that works out. Like, even if you don't make the sale or whatever, the fact that she just ended up seeing it was like, "Hey, I'm the jet lady." Like, I don't know, that's kind of cool.
It was cool. I said to her, like, I guess I didn't say to her, maybe I will. I'm actually going to go meet up with her tomorrow. I said to my wife, I guess it's just so weird that she said, "Oh, I recognized you as soon as you came in." I'm sure she's seen the GoPro on my book back or my backpack, but she never mentioned that she knew who I was or knew what I was doing. She just talked to me like I was. There's nothing wrong with that. She just talked to me like I was just there to buy stuff. I was there.
Maybe
Just
she was testing you, man.
she could have been. Yeah, maybe
You passed.
yeah, yeah. She just didn't want to put her cards on the table, and like I don't know, not sure. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. In the future, if I would say, I think neither one of us are super social, but I think we're both approachable. Like I could care if you want to come say hello, if we're out in public. I think that's totally fine. I mean, it's like-minded people normally, right? That want to talk to you. So it's usually kind of interesting to have a conversation with somebody who's doing the same thing you are.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, exactly. Well, that's cool. You got a cool local story. I'll share a cool local story as well. So this last weekend was the kind of annual community-wide yard sale here. And some years, again, we've only lived here about 3 years. So small sample size, but a couple of times it's been pretty good. And once was really good. This year, I guess was technically the fourth time we've come to it. We really just wanted to get a whole bunch of plants for ourselves. Like, we were getting into some gardening. We're making some better outdoor spaces, get some indoor plants and do all the rest. So that was our main priority, honestly. Right at opening up time, we kind of went down to where we knew these plant vendors were set up. It was like a local community garden association or whatever. Spent a whole bunch of money on plants, and then we're like, okay, well, let's go take a look around. Found a few things, just kind of just personal pickups and a couple things to flip, maybe pay $5, make 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then near the end of it, we were actually heading home, and we were driving through a narrow street, which had cars parked on both sides and lots of people walking around. So I was really trying not to hit anybody or their vehicle. And I just happened to glance over, and I thought I saw a camcorder sitting on a table. I was like, okay, I think I just saw a camcorder, but I really got to focus on the road. So I get down the road, we get home, and Jamie, my girlfriend, had to take a little break. And I was like, I'm just going to run down there to that house just on foot. I think I saw something. So I get down there. Sure enough, it's a Sony Handycam, like model something or other 720. It's got the sync cable, like the transfer cable. It's got 2 batteries. It's got the bag. It's got a tape and everything. And I'm just like, oh man, like this could be really good. I just know that these can sell for hundreds of dollars. I've never sold one. I've never found one before. So anyway, I'm talking to the guy. He's got no prices on anything. I'm just like, oh, hey, how's it going? How much you asking for your camcorder? And he's like, yeah, so I don't have a tape for it, because he was wrong at first. He's like, I don't have a tape for it. I haven't used it. I transferred everything over to DVDs. Like the transfer cable's in there. That's how I did it. He's like, so I don't know. He's like, if you want it, just take it.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, all right. I mean, are you sure? He's like, yeah, everything works. A couple batteries. He's going through the pockets, showing everything. And then he sees a tape. He's like, oh, okay. Well, actually, there is a tape in there. I was like, all right, well, does that change anything? Like, do you still want to sell it, or like, do you want it now or something? Like, now that you can use it, you've got a tape. It's like, no, that's fine. But can you give me $5? I was like, yeah, yes, I can. Here you go. Here's $5. So anyway, when I took it home, just grabbed it and just basically hiked it home. I get inside and whatever, and I'm looking at it, look it up, and it looks like this particular model, complete with the bag and all that stuff, one has sold. I think there was 4 listed and 14 sold, or maybe 4 listed and 16 sold. So, 350 to 400% sell-through rate, really good sell-through rate in the last 90 days on eBay. And a bundle similar to what we've got sold for about $390. So, and then a couple of others in the 300 range. So I'm probably going to just list on the higher end and just wait with that kind of a sell-through rate. But the really cool thing about it was not only the, potentially $300 some profit. My girlfriend had a tape, an old tape from a camcorder that she had like 20 years ago, before we even met, like 21 years ago, that she's never watched. She's never been able to see it because her camera broke like right afterwards or something. And she just had this tape for all this time. So she got to watch this from 20 some years ago, like her and her friends just hanging out and stuff. So that was really cool as well. But yeah, it was a really kind of two-sided good story. I mean, finding something that good for that cheap, almost free, and then also being able to unlock a memory of over 20 years old.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's not too often that you get free at a yard sale. Sometimes I'll get a free pile, but it's like broken or like picture frames and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
All right, everybody. Thanks very much for watching. Appreciate that. We did kind of a little bit looser style today where we didn't really have predetermined topics and just kind of rambled about what's going on and what's happening in the life of a reseller. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know down below, and we'll see you in the next one.